Welcome back to Online Darts. We've got a very special one here at the Winter Gardens. We've got the man himself, Rod Studd, who returned to the commentary box. Rod, first of all, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, Phil. Yeah. I feel pretty good. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back in and amongst the darts. I've missed it. It's been a long time.
Yeah, we'll touch on obviously that in a minute. But first of all, what was it like just to come back and see Wayne and everyone and just sit there with?
Well,
the
you can't have everything,
again?
Phil, can you? You know, I mean, when Sky said, "Oh, on the first afternoon that you're back working," which was a Sunday afternoon here at the Matchplay, and you'll be in the box with Mardell, I thought it was somebody's idea of a sick joke, and I thought maybe I should postpone my return, but I thought I'll soldier on. But no, in seriousness, it's been good. I'm glad to be back. It's good to see all the people from Sky again, and you guys, and everyone who works at the darts, and the players, and it's just good to be back in and amongst it.
Were there nerves heading into that first one?
Yeah, well, I was a bit nervous. Yeah, I wasn't entirely sure what would happen, but I'd had a bit of a run out at the Pro Tour in Coventry, which I've got to thank Matt Porter for that, because he suggested that maybe it would be a good idea to get a bit of practice in, feel the ball back on the bat and play a few shots at the Pro Tour. So would I like to do some work for the guys that do the Pro Tour for the PDC? And it was good. I did some commentary with Dan Dawson and Chris Murphy and Paul Nicholson, who were all very helpful and kind, and it made a big difference. So when I came back to do the Sky job this Sunday just past, I wasn't completely out of practice. I'd just done a bit of work for those guys, so I felt that I had a bit of confidence coming back.
I thought you just touched on that. Was confidence the key to this?
Yeah, I mean, because I wasn't 100% sure how it would work. I didn't know whether I'd be able to get it back, and whether I'd still be able to do the same stuff, whether I'd be able to speak in the same way. I mean, I wasn't 100% sure. I was pretty confident, but having done the Pro Tour, I was more confident. And then having done one of the Sky matches, the game between Ratajski and Dolan, I started to feel more confident, and then I was even prepared to do a game with Mardell, with Van Gerwen playing against Heta. And, so I think it's gone okay, to be honest. I'm quite pleased with how it's gone, and I just need to keep, building up, and doing a bit more, and gradually just getting it back until hopefully things are back in the swing of things, and back to normal. But, I'm not naive. I know everyone's had it bad. It's not been normal for anybody. I'm not the only one who's had a terrible 18 months. There's plenty of people who've had it much worse than me, Phil. There's hundreds of thousands who've lost relatives, for example, and so it's been tough for everybody, to go through and for you guys trying to work at a tournament when you've got all sorts of restrictions and rules and regulations, and it's not been easy for anybody. But the PDC have done a great job in keeping the show on the road, and now we appear to be moving through the worst of it, and hopefully, by the time we move into the autumn and more big tournaments appear, like the Grand Prix and the Grand Slam, and then ultimately, of course, the World Championship, hopefully things will be back to normal, and hopefully I'll be back in the swing of things as well.
You must have been blown away by the response you got on social media the last few days as well. People have loved having you back, and they've said it's as good as new. Couldn't notice any difference in you. That must have blown you away.
Yeah, it's very kind. It's very kind. I mean, we all know that social media can be a brutal place, and an unpleasant place at times, but there wasn't a bit of that. It was awash with good messages.
Yeah.
Normally I don't get that kind of responses, you'll appreciate, but it was awash with well wishes, and it was very, very, very heartwarming, and I appreciate every one of them.
The last 18 months, what's it been like? And do you remember anything of the day itself?
Yeah, I can remember what happened when I was ill, and I can't remember getting in an ambulance, and I can't remember getting to a hospital, and I can't remember what happened in the early stages of hospital. But gradually, I remember more and more of things, of the stay in hospital and then coming home, and everything since. And it's been hard work. I'm not going to lie, but as I say, there's been plenty of people who had it much worse than me, Phil. But I mean, it's a lot of rehab, physically mainly. And after this tournament next Monday, I'll be back to doing 5 days rehab again. Because there's a lot of things to fix up, physical and mental. So it's been hard work, but I've thrown myself into it and I've enjoyed it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Wayne's often said you're one of the most stubborn men he's ever
very
met.
stubborn.
But is this a good way that you've been stubborn because that relentlessness to push yourself?
Yeah, to be honest with you, Phil, I mean, if you'd asked me a couple of years ago what I thought would happen if I got ill like that, I would have had me down as someone that would fold at the first sign of trouble like a cheap suit and just turn it in and just give up. but I haven't. I've managed to find something from somewhere, and with a lot of help from a lot of people, a lot of friends, and particularly my family. And I've found something from somewhere, and I've managed to keep going, and I've been quite determined that I wasn't going to sort of give up and settle for where I was at any given point of the journey. Whatever square, I call it like the snakes and ladders board. Whatever square I'm on, I'm not staying on it. I keep throwing the dice, and you start off on square one, and some days I throw a one and nothing much happens. But some days I throw a good number and end up on a ladder and shoot up, and something really good happens with the rehab, and I feel good about life. And so as long as you keep throwing the dice, you'll get to square 100 eventually. So I'm still throwing.
Your Sky colleagues, Wayne and Pikey in particular, through
Yeah,
this have been
very
nothing
good.
short of brilliant.
Yeah. As I said, I've been very lucky with my friends and particularly my family. But you're right, Pikey's been superb. He really is different class from the get-go, really. From when I was in hospital, and Wayne likewise. So yeah. I couldn't be back here now without those people.
And looking ahead, are you hoping that you get another run out here at the match play, or is that you done and just building again for the next one?
Well, I'm always available if selected, Phil. So I'll leave it to those much cleverer than me that produce our darts coverage, to sort of manage the situation, and they don't want me to overdo it and run out of steam or burn myself out or knock myself down a step or two, and they want me to get right for when things progress through the autumn, as I mentioned, some of the other tournaments, but particularly obviously the World Championship, which is everyone, whether you're a player or a broadcaster, it's the big one, and it's the one we want to be at, and it's the one where we want to be at the top of our game. And so, like any sport, really, you want to get your players fit and playing at their best for the big matches. So that's Sky want me to be at my fittest and best when we get to the World Championship, and hopefully I will be.
We know you're a huge sports fan. What was it like watching darts at home when you couldn't? Was it refreshing, or was it more watching?
I enjoyed it, but it was a bit strange, really, because I spent a lot of time sort of commentating on matches from a chair, and Mrs. Studd would say, "What are you doing?" And I'd say, "Well, I'm having a bit of a net session. I'm practicing. I'm spouting something about the screen." But it was quite tough. But I'd imagine it was quite tough for everybody, just being in and amongst it, because, as I said, the PDC did a terrific job keeping the show on the road and keeping the plates spinning. But, I, as a darts fan, found it quite difficult watching darts with no fans watching.
Yeah.
Because it just, I don't know, you know what I'm coming from. It's just not quite the same, is it? It's not quite the same. It wasn't quite the same. And whilst it was a great effort to get anything on at all in the circumstances, I would say, darts, if you put a list of sports that were most badly affected by having no fans in terms of the product, darts would have been right at the very top of that list.
Completely agree.
Because, the fans are part of the show, aren't they?
Massively. And like us all, did you get a warm glow coming back here to the Winter Gardens?
I always get a warm glow at the Winter Gardens, Phil, and a very warm glow this year because it's so hot. But every time I come here, I love it. Just to walk into the building, and just even if in May, Mrs. Studd and I came to Blackpool and to have a look around the venue just to make sure I'd be okay getting around the venue physically, you see, and just walking in there then, and it was empty. Just looking at the architecture, I just thought, this is great. It's far and away my favourite venue of the year, and I know that applies to a lot of people and the players and all sorts. But just walking into the venue, I get a thrill from it, and it's no exception this year.
Rod, absolute pleasure sitting down and talking to you. Thank you very much, mate.
No problem at all, Phil.
It's great
anytime.
to have you back and commentating at your best, mate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. No problem, Phil. Thanks.